All right. Uh Welcome to Classic Gun Talk. And I've got one guy with me tonight. I sent a couple links out to other people that are part of that would be part of this conversation, but nobody else showed up. So that's how it goes. So
it's all right, man. Sorry, you're trying. You're trying really hard, and that's just how things go sometimes, man. I'm telling you.
And I know we're doing this at the same time Ghost is doing his show, but the fact is, I just can't keep doing it at 9 p.m. It's just I'm getting too old.
Dude, you sound like me last year. I'm like, I gotta go to bed by 9. It's like, whatever, old man.
Travis, Travis, on August 29th, you know what? You know how old I will be?
You will be, let me guess, 35? 34?
Go up.
21?
Yeah, I wish.
You're not going to turn 40.
I am.
Dude, you don't look that old. You have no gray at all, man.
Oh, no, I've got gray everywhere.
Nah,
I got gray in my sideburns. I got gray in my
You know what, though? You got that one thing that most of us don't have, and that's the ability to grow that fantastic root beard like overnight, man. I'm telling you. Hey, I'm going to be with you, but I'm going to push your stream all over Facebook, all right?
Go for it. All right.
All right, man, do it.
Guys, tonight we're going to be talking about the Mosin Nagant and most of its variants. Now, I will not mince words. There were like over 20 different variants of the Mosin Nagant. And I'm not going to go over the ones that have been captured and re-arsenaled. I'm not going to go over the ones that have been, I'm not going to go over every single variant. Okay. If you want to know every single variant of Mosin out there, go ahead and look it up, because I'm just going over the basic rifle, and a few of the variants, like, where the original Mosin got to. We're going from the original Mosin to about World War II are the type of variants we're going to go with. So, and again, because I said we're talking about Mosin Nagants, I can't show it on camera, but you can hear it. There's the bolt. That's the bolt of my M44 Type 53. I can't show it to you on camera because, well, rules and regulations.
It's really unfortunate because I don't know if I've ever heard of a surplus rifle in any recent mass shootings in the last 8 years, maybe.
Yeah. So, let's see.
You okay there?
Yeah. Just
all right.
All right. Here, let me see. I got a question out there from our buddy Kingpin.
Oh, what's
First question: what is the Mosin chambered in? Okay, the original Mosin Nagant rifle, the original M1891, it's chambered for 7.62 by 54R. That's the rifle mine is chambered for. Basically, most are chambered for 7.62 by 54R. Okay. Now,
it's kind of like a 308 variant, I guess you could say it. Well, I mean, 308 would have come from it in theory because 7.62 by 54R is the oldest rim or not. It's the oldest rim cartridge.
Yeah,
that's still used or still around.
And basically, guys, if you got any questions about Mosins, go ahead and throw them out there. We'll try and answer them if we can. If you've got any personal things you want to talk about your Mosin, go ahead and let us know, and we'll put your comment at the bottom of the page. During this whole chat, and well, this is supposed to be a collective chat on Mosin Nagants, but I want to get some actual knowledge out there for everyone. So, so let me go through this. Okay. So I'm going to start with the origin of the Mosin. Okay. So the Mosin Nagant was designed by, what's his name? Oh boy. It's okay. The 3 rifles were submitted for evaluation to the Russian Empire, and it was Captain Sergei Ivanovich Mosin of the Imperial Army submitted his 3-line caliber rifle. which was the 7.62 30 caliber rifle. Belgian designer Mosin Nagant submitted a 3.5 line, .35 caliber 9mm design, and Captain Zinoviev submitted another 3-line rifle. When trials concluded in 1891, the evaluators are split in their assessment. The main disadvantages of Nagant's rifle were a more complicated mechanism and a long, tiresome procedure of disassembling, which required special instruments. It was necessary to unscrew 2 fasteners. Mosin's rifle was mainly criticized for its lower quality of manufacture and materials due to artisan pre-production of his 300 rifles. The commission initially voted 14-10 to approve Mosin's rifle. At this point, the decision was made to rename the existing commission and call it Commission for Creation of the Small Bore Rifle. And I'm not going to read the Russian because I'm not good with Cyrillic. And to put on paper the final requirements for such a rifle. The inventors obliged by delivering their final designs. Head of the commission, General Shugin, again Russian, don't ask. Ordered subsequent tests held under the commission's supervision, after which the bolt action of Mosin's design was ordered into production under the name 3-line rifle, or otherwise known as M1891, model of 1891. The colloquial name of it now is called the Mosin Nagant, but originally it was adopted by the Russian Empire under the M1891. Now, again, the rifle's in 7.62 by 54R. There's plenty of variants of the 1891. So I'm just gonna go over a couple of them, okay? All right, so let me see. I've got notes. I'm going through all my notes. So, again, anybody out there? Okay, we got Mr. Evan H says, I sport a ride my Mosin. Nothing that can't be undone, though. Shoots great either way. If you want to, go ahead, but the prices of Mosins are going up. So if you don't want to, if you don't want to sporterize your Mosin, don't. But if it's already been sporterized, just shoot it and have fun.
Real quick, just the average price on Gunbroke for just a standard numbers matching Mosin, not even a hex, it's roughly $800 now for one.
Yes, Mosin Nagant,
$800, guys. So that is insane. I paid mine $125 for mine about 7 years ago. They're gaining $100 a year basically in value.
Coop, I sent you an email with a link if you want to jump in and talk about Mosins. Now, Kingpin is asking, there are internal magazines. Yes, the Mosin Nagant is similar to the Mauser, the 98 Mauser, where it has an internal magazine. Like most bolt action rifles, it has an internal magazine. Well, at least early bolt action military models. All right, so I believe 5 rounds, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Honestly, I haven't shot mine for it's been about a year since I shot mine. I think it's 5 rounds. Yeah.
It's a 5-round internal magazine. Okay. Thank you for keeping me on my toes.
Well, you load it with a stripper clip.
Yes, Sergei Ivanovich Mosin. And he lived between April 1849 and February 8th, 1902. Wow, he lived a long time. He almost lived to see World War I. Almost. And yes, you can load the Mosin Nagant rifle via a stripper clip. So, yes. Let's see. Anyways, so let me get back to this. Okay, so I'm trying to get the variants. Okay, so the Russian Empire originally adopted the model 1891 rifle. Okay, it was the standard infantry rifle at the time. Okay, later they adopted a shorter and lighter version of the 1891 that was meant for dragoons or cavalry troops. Okay. Again, there is also another different one that's almost identical to the dragoon, which was the Cossack rifle. And it was used for Cossack cavalry, which they were different because I guess they got on and off the horse. And for those that don't know, Cossacks were a type of warrior that Russians had at one point. A lot of them came from the Ukrainian region. So and Cossacks, they didn't all come from Ukraine, but a good majority of them came from the southeastern part of Ukraine. And down the line, eventually Cossacks were just associated with Ukraine in general. And, so they call it part of their heritage, even though not all of them are descended from the Cossacks. Maybe just like half of them. But again, that's also why the Russian Federation is having such a problem with the Ukrainians right now, because they're attacking the Cossacks. So a little history there. All right. Now I don't want to go on about every variant, but okay, so they had the Dragoon, they had the 1891, they had the Dragoon, their cavalry model, and then they had the they took a lot of the rifles in 1930 and they re-arsenaled a lot of the rifles. And then you get the 9130 variant. And the 9130 variant is basically what's out there on the market. Now, there are a lot, and I mean a lot of manufacturers. All right. But for simplicity, I'm only going to go over the major ones for World War I and for, the initial 1891s. Okay. So this is not my rifle. This is just a picture of the 9130 itself, just so that we know what I'm talking about. Okay. Because there's a ton of different variants, and I'm going to show you all the variants in a second. So be aware, because as I said, there's lots of them, and I don't want to go over every single one. I just want to go over, the major ones that were used in wars, which almost everyone was used in war, but I just want to go over the mainline ones. All right. Because there are a ton of different variants. I mean, a ton. This is how many variants there are. Okay? It starts from the top left and it goes out, down, diagonal, over, under. You get the point. It's a lot. I mean, see if I can make this larger. It's a little too large. All right. See that? You see how many variants there are? So, I believe they did. Mr. FNH says, I think I have a 1937. Yes. What Mosins they didn't have to re-arsenal, they made additional ones in between 1930 and 1945, 9130s. They made more, even though they had a whole bunch out there. But again, Kingpin said, did they come with a cleaning rifle? Also, cleaning rod also. Most variants will come with the cleaning rod. Some didn't, but it depends on which variant. I believe the standard 91, the 9130, and the M44 variants may have. Not all of them have them.
Yeah, the 9130s do. I've got one of those.
Though be aware, even when you go out to buy a surplus Mosin Nagant rifle, it may not come with a cleaning rod. You may have to buy a cleaning rod additionally, because they still make cleaning rods for the rifle if your rifle doesn't come with one. And sometimes they did get lost, broken, or got ruined, during importation to the United States. So be aware of that.
Hey, NightStryke, don't forget, I was looking up some of the more rare variants. Westinghouse, that makes washers and dryers, they made Mosins back in, I don't know if those ever got sent abroad. I think they got canceled or they never paid up on them, so they got sold domestically.
I'm getting to that. To that. Okay.
So I'm so excited. I can't contain myself. I'm sorry.
Why don't we go in? So as I said, as far as variants, there was the 9130. Then there was the model 1938 carbine. They also made 1939 models, which basically are this almost the same as the M44, except unlike the M44 where the bayonet was attached to the rifle, actually affixed to the barrel, the 1938 and 39 models did not have that capability. So you actually had to put the bayonet on manually like the 9130. So be aware of that. All right. So let's go back up to variants. So before World War One and during World War One, there were a lot of contractors that were contracted by the Russian Empire to make more rifles for them because they couldn't get enough rifles to them for the men they had conscripted or drafted for World War One. Okay. Now of the manufacturers, the main ones are Tula and Izhevsk. Uh, but there's also Sestroy, excuse me, Sestroyetsk. There is a manufacturer National d'Armes de Chaleureux. The France more or less made some for the Russian Federation, not Russian Federation, but the Russian Empire. Remington made some. Westinghouse made some. For those that don't know, Radom in Poland made some, and Kugir in Romania made some for the Russian Empire, Soviet Union. You get the point. Anyways, those are just some of the manufacturers. Now, okay, TLDR. As I mentioned, mine is Chinese. So yes, the Chinese made some. They got tooling from the Russians and made M44 variants called the Type 53. Okay. I also heard that Yugoslavians made some. Like basically any Soviet comm bloc nation after World War One, or excuse me, after World War II, probably made some at some point before they adopted the SKS and the AK-47 and 74s. Okay, because that's how that progression went. It went Mosins, then SKSs, then AKs, AK-47s, then 74s. Actually, they didn't really keep the SKS very long, but anyway, we're not getting into that. So, yes, as Travis was saying, the Westinghouse and Remington rifles that were ordered by the Russian Empire, by the point they were ready to be shipped to Russia, it was already 1917. And at that point, the Bolsheviks have already started their revolution and started to take down the Tsar. And at that point, the Soviets or the Bolsheviks were in charge, and they said, "Niet, we do not want to pay for those rifles. We don't want those rifles. Don't ask again." So what happened was those companies, now out of money for making all those rifles for Russia, who doesn't want them now because of regime change, they went to the United States government and asked, "What do we do? We've got all these rifles that we haven't been paid for, and we're gonna go bankrupt if we don't do something about these rifles." And at that point, the United States government made the company Remington and Westinghouse an offer to buy all those rifles, and they stuck those in the American arsenals, and they were used as training rifles until eventually they were surplused off through the CMP, or whatever the CMP was post Teddy Roosevelt. Okay. And that's how some of those rifles got into American hands. Some of those rifles got destroyed too. So be aware of that. So, all right. So we got a couple more comments out there. So, I want to, okay, we got Ohio Wolverine saying, "Mine is an Izhevsk, with all matching numbers, including the bayonet. Paid $89 for it years ago." Well, then you are an old man, Ohio Wolverine, because it's been a long time since they've been $89. All right. Artak and Daughter says, I have a Remington M91 and a finished Sky Rifle, which is a Remington receiver and finished rebuilt. Yes. Yeah, there's those out there too. So he mentions back in the day you could get mix 5 Mosins from Centerfire Systems for $250. Yeah, I got mine for $250 a couple years ago when everyone thought that 250 Mosins were all dried up, but mine needed a stock, so that's how I got mine. So there's that. Travis, you still there? Or are you on the phone?
No, I'm here, dude. I'm listening. This is good stuff, bro. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about technical detail, okay?
Let's do
like the Gewehr 898, the 1891 Mosin uses 2 front locking lugs to lock up the action. However, the Mosin's lugs lock in the horizontal position, whereas Mauser locks vertically. If anybody didn't know that. You know, the Mosin bolt body is a multi-piece, whereas the Mauser is one piece. The Mosin uses interchangeable bolt heads like the Lee Enfield, unlike the Mauser, which uses control feed bolt head, in which the cartridge snaps up under the fixed extractor as the cartridge is fed from the magazine. The Mosin has a push feed recessed bolt head in which the spring-loaded extractor snaps over the cartridge base as the bolt is finally closed, similar to the Gewehr 1888 and the M91 Carcano, which I've got one of those, or modern sporting rifles like the Remington 700. Like the Mauser, the Mosin uses a blade ejector mounted in the receiver. The Mosin bolt is removed by simply pulling it fully to the rear of the receiver, squeezing the trigger, while the Mauser has a bolt stop lever separate from the trigger. So, did you know that the rifling of the Mosin barrel is right turning, clockwise looking down the rifle? It's got 4 grooves with a twist of 1/9 by 5 inch, or 1/9 by 5, or 1 in 10. The 5-round fixed metallic magazine can either be loaded by inserting cartridges individually, more often in military service by the use of 5-round stripper clips. Okay, I mentioned that earlier, but I want to reiterate that 5-round stripper clips. So, okay, now, let's go on. There are a bunch of variants, like we said. Now, there are a bunch of finished captured variants because of the Russians attacking the Finns many times because of, well, because of the Winter War from before and during World War II. The Soviet Union decided, let's go and attack Finland. And that's when you got the sniper hero, Simo Haya, which, of one of the rifles he used was a Finnish captured or in finished rearsenaled Mosin Nagant. So there is that. Now, let's see. The Japanese even have a variant because they captured some. So they captured some during the first, I believe it was the first Sino-Soviet War, which was basically World War I. So there's that interesting tidbit there too. But as I said, with there are a ton of different variants. Like, as I said, the Yugoslavs made some, the Chinese made some. It's like the Finns rearsenaled some. The variants go on and on and on. And if I don't know if we can be here all day with talking about all the variants. The more prolific one you'll see often, which might be a fake, but may not be a fake, is the 9130 PPU, or the 9130 PU, which is the sniper variant, which has the scope on it on the side. Okay, and those were made during World War II because they affixed a scope to them. So, because those are Soviet models.
Now they weren't as rare as maybe some other sniper rifles you hear about, because what didn't the average like Russian platoon have like a ton of snipers? They had like a bunch of them. So the sniper rifles are not hard to find. It's just they're pushing, I think, about 1,500 now, and like one that's got a certificate of authenticity with it that's verified to be legit, including the optic, those are probably pushing close to $2,000 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, really, they were just like an inaccurized version of the standard rifle. They would take like the best rifle that shot out of the crate and put a scope on it and call it a sniper rifle, you know?
Yeah. Warsaw asked, didn't Germany capture some during World War One? Yes. During World War II, yes. But the Germans are pretty stuck up as it is, so they were too proud to use other countries' weapons against.
Dude, let's be honest here. What is it? Help me out here. The Car 98 and stuff. What's the action? The
Mauser 98. Mauser 98 came out in 1898.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you think is a more superior rifle, though?
And honestly, the Mauser 98.
Yeah.
Well, it's not as simple as the Mosin Nagant. The Mauser 98 action, I will tell you right now, is butter smooth in comparison to the 9130, the 1891, or even the M44, because I bought mine secondhand from somebody else who got it from Century, because it was imported from Century, from China. But the thing is, the bolt, when I got it, the bolt was gritty. I did not like the bolt. I had to buy a replacement firing pin spring to make the bolt butter smooth. So in the case of Germans using the Germans captured these rifles. They didn't use it against the Russians because they compared to the bolt action of a Mauser 98, the 1891 was a joke. Quite honestly. So the rifle like the Mosin ever find its way into a modern military? Okay, so you know how I was talking about the Ukrainian conflict right now with the Russian Federation? Well, I got news for you. In some civilian armaments, armories right now, and some local armories in Ukraine, I have seen everything from Mosins, SKSs, to, old World War I style Maxim machine guns being used by the Ukrainians against the Russians. And by the way, if you also, those of you that ever fought in Iraq or Afghanistan will know that Mosins even made their way out there into Iraq and Afghanistan. So, yeah. With Iraq and Afghanistan, it's more insurgent forces than an actual military using them. But again, the Ukrainians are using everything they've got against the Russians. So some are military units, some are volunteer civilians that are fighting with the military to push the Russians back. But as far as actually using them for any, that's the only point right now where modern militaries are using it in a war. Now, are there any units using it as a, I think the Chinese and the Russians may still use the 9130 as a parade rifle. They might have switched to SKSs by this point, but they may use them as parade rifles, and that's about as far as they go. I don't know. Ukraine has some of the newest tech that hasn't been used against the Russians before, and are using it against the Russians. So Didn't Bulgaria use Mosins? Okay, listen. As I said, anybody who was a com block nation probably used Mosins at one point until they got SKSs and AKs. Okay? Any com block nation, including Bulgaria, they were a com block nation. So, anyways, as I said, this is the these are all the variants, and there may be some missing out of this list too. So just be aware of that. But as I said, the PU sniper variant is a little different. Here, this is off Wikipedia, but this is from a M39 variant. So let's see, share screen, Chrome tab.
You see Warsaw's comment there, NightStryke? I walked away for a second.
Yeah.
EZ54. Okay.
Yes.
What are those run, man?
Okay. There's a variant where instead of the standard spike bayonet, it used more of a Bowie bayonet. And that was an M39. I think that either maybe a Finnish or maybe a Swedish M39. I'm not sure. So, but just throwing that out there for everyone. So, as I said, there are a lot of variants. I don't really want to go through every single one today, but there are quite a few. I'm not going to look at pictures you messaged me, Warsaw. Not tonight. So, let's see. That was an M39 bayonet. So, as I said, there's tons of variants. I mean, right now, as far as where can you buy a Mosin right now? Right now, you're pretty much stuck to gun shows. Also, you may want to look at Gunbroker for Mosin right now. As far as your local gun shop may have one. Who else may have one? It doesn't hurt to check some of the online gun stores as well. But there are a ton out there for sale. So, as we were talking about with Travis earlier, the Mosin, your average Mosin is going to cost you anywhere between $250 to $2,000 depending on the type. Like, again, if you want a PU sniper, you're probably going to pay upwards of $1,000 or more for a PU sniper.
No, dude, yeah, no, they're pushing $3,500 on Gunbroker for a verified sniper.
That's why I said or more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just saying that. And 250 is probably going to get you.
I'm giving low end, but there is a high end, and it's more. Okay, so
yeah,
if it's over $1,000, beware. You may pay if you want an original all parts matching PU sniper. Yeah, you're going to pay that clip $2,000 to $3,000.
Bolts alone are pushing $175. So,
yeah. But I have seen them for like $1,200, where it may not be an all parts matching. It may just be parts have been replaced, and it has the scope. And at that point, I mean, that's still a PU sniper. So be aware of that. But again, depending on the variant, the prices go all over the place. Since mine was a Chinese copy, I only paid $250. Now that's on the low end. So right now, you're probably not going to find one anywhere between I'm going to say $299 to $300 to, as Travis said, $3,000 depending on the type. But as the old Never Enough Ammo story time says, the prices of Mosins continue to skyrocket.
No, to rise.
No, skyrocket.
No, it's the price of Mosins continue to rise. Come on, it's always been that way.
Continue to rise.
Continue to rise.
All
it's
right.
Simple, to the point.
So yes, the for those that are wondering, Warsaw's going on a tangent. Yes, there were Czech Mosins. Like you've got the VZ 9138. You've got the VZ 70, the VZ 54. You've got the VZ 5491. And the last two are sniper variants. So you got the Chinese, Hungary made some. Romania did, as I mentioned. Poland made some. That would be the WZ 91, 98, 23, the 91, 98, 25, 26, the WZ 44 and 48. As I mentioned, that the American ones. Okay. Who else didn't I mention? As I said, Finland had some. Even Estonia had some. Okay. Who else had some? Russia, the USSR had them. So there are a ton of different variants. And as I mentioned, yes, even the Japanese got some. Now, did the Japanese produce them? No. They basically they were like the thin models, where they were basically they were captured, they were taken apart, parts were cleaned, they were re-arsenaled and put back together. Now, as far as a Russian Mosin goes, people go over. Well, East Germany were just using 9130s they got from the USSR, Warsaw. Now, as I was mentioning with Mosins, with the Russian models, a lot of people say to look out for the hex receivers over the round receivers because the hexes are better receivers, and that is true, I guess. I haven't noticed any problem with my receiver. Mine's a Chinese receiver. So, and here's something what they don't tell you, but the early Type 53s, the Chinese Type 53s, some of them were Russian receivers that the Russians hadn't finished, that the Russians gave to the Chinese when they gave them the tooling to finish them and let them finish them. So so if you look at the rear part of the Tang on the rifle receiver, you may see a Soviet star or a Soviet or the hammer and sickle on it instead of the Chinese star. So be aware for that. So after watching this chat, I've decided my 1943 9130 is for sale. Bidding starts at $900. Well, go to Gunbroker. Yeah, there we go. Blue Steel 44 out there says, was the Nagant's greatest moment on the battlefield or in Civic Center gun shows? Honestly, it depends on which moment we're talking about.
It was an enemy at the gates because that's what caused everybody to go buy them. That Nut and Fancy pretty much caused the then what Iraqi veterans videos way back in the day.
My Sword Bicep says J&G has some for sale on their website. So go check J&G out. No, Warsaw, if Kazakhstan had Mosins, most likely they were Russian-produced 9130s that were passed down to them. Because they were busy building other things like car parts for Stalin or something. So, don't ask. I know weird things about Soviet Union. Just let's go on. Anyways, so yeah. What else? What else is there to talk about the Mosin? As we mentioned, your best place to find one is Gunbroker, Arms List, your local gun shop, local online gun retailers, gun shows. I mean, if you want to see how many variants of Mosins there are, I'm going to tell you right now, go to Wanamaker. They have guys that have like almost every variant of Mosin for sale. Remember that, Travis, where we went there in 2018?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Like there I'm not kidding, guys. There was literally just one aisle left and right of Mosins and every variant for sale. And then me and Matt walked past the corner of that area, and they just had Type 50 receivers with bolts, and those were for sale for $50. I probably should have bought one, but I didn't really want to put it back together. Matt did, but I went and got one eventually anyways. So
yeah, let's talk about ammo because Blue Steel was asking about that. I was looking up the pricing right now. I want to talk about that a little bit when you get a chance.
All right, you know what, Travis? This is a great way to segue into it. Let's talk about 7.62 by 54R.
Yeah, so as we know, Tula of the Russian ammo is not, it's been cut off a couple years ago. It's starting to get kind of rare. I'm noticing that like even 7.62 by 39 case prices are starting to really get up there in price. We're looking at $12.99 a box for either S&B or Tula. The good news is that Cellular and Below still makes that caliber, so I think the prices are going to be fair. You can still get it at 60 cents a round on AmmoSeek. But the Tula, you know, we used to pay what, $8.99 maybe for a box at Walmart back in the day. And then it's, you know, so if you want to get a Mosin or if you've got one and don't have a lot of ammo, I would just say buy just like maybe a half a case of 500 rounds, get it at 60 cents a round, and then you'll have it. You'll be able to enjoy it once in a while when you want to shoot it. Because once the Tula dries up, unless there's domestic production or S&B around or PPU, it's going to get expensive. You might be looking at $17.99 a box in a couple of years just because of demand.
Right.
There's lots of corrosive ammo for sale you can buy that's cheaper, but I honestly would probably never buy it. I would buy it and just hold on to it and just keep it as a collector item more than anything. But yeah, the spam cans that used to be $80 a pop for what, 400 rounds, those are pushing $325, $300 for a can now, I think.
Yeah.
If you can even find one, you know.
Yeah, if you can find one. But be aware that that AAC, that is PSA's ammo, they're going to start. They're in the process of starting manufacturing of steel cased 7.62 by 39. I think they're also going to do some 5.45 by 39.
My theory on that is they're going to wait for that Tula to just really start to dry up, or you're going to see the prices go up, and then they're going to undercut them and sell it maybe for like $8.99 a box for 20 rounds when Tula's starting to push 12 or 13 a box. And
then they'll they've even mentioned they might dip into 7.62 by 54.
So do you think they'd make like an RPK, their own version of an RPK? Since here's the thing, since the classic guns, my prediction in the next 5 years, the big seller is going to be reproduction classics because we own everything else already. I mean, everything else is already out there. It's like
PSA is already making RPKs from Romanian RPK parts.
Well, I'm saying like their own homegrown one. Like we're going to start to see some, what's the other one that they're coming out with? What was the one that we saw that was going to be chambered like different cartridges?
What I'm waiting for is PSA to get their Zenico copy furniture down a bit, so that everybody can buy it. And at that point, if I was PSA, I would make an RPK variant, using US only parts, and use that Zenico copy RPK furniture on that.
Yeah.
And eventually they may do that as a concept, like, the American RPK or something,
Yep.
But again, PSA and H&R are also branching out to doing retro stuff now too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So the what's it, that one, I think it's the SGG 44 that Hill and Mac were doing.
Yes.
PSA are making them now.
Yeah.
So they made they either bought the contract out and they're making those now. And does that mean we'll see anybody reproduce the 9130 or the Mosins? No, because there's too many of them out there already. There's no point. There's no point to making more Mosins.
No, I disagree. If somebody would make a new manufacturer one for like $249, which would probably never happen, more like $349, I think people would buy them because they would be shooters. If they could make one that looks just like that, which they could easily do. I mean, look, you got those little mini 22 versions that are almost a scale reproduction of that exact gun. I disagree. I think if you could get them out there for like half the price of the market value of a vintage Mosin, people would buy them because they would have one they could use as a shooter or buy it as a clone or not even, just so they don't have to use their original rifle.
Well, actually, there's already one out there on the market. I didn't want to mention this, but let's go ahead and mention this. One of the manufacturers here in the United States, which makes cricket rifles. Okay, they've made a mini Mosin that is in 22. You've heard of the Mini Mosin in
make
22.
NightStryke? They make like did they do like a Springfield 1903 clone in 22 also?
I don't know if they do, but they make the Mini Mosin in 22. And honestly, right there, that's the one rifle you're gonna get that as you said, that's new manufactured that people might actually want, and it's the Mini Mosin. The price on the Mini Mosin from some of the online retailers I've seen anywhere between $299 to like $325, depending on where you go. Okay, they're still out there. It's not Cricket. It's I think it's Keystone Sporting Arms. Okay, I thought it was Cricket, but again,
they might use a Cricket action just so they don't have to outsource, or they just outsource the action instead of making their own homegrown.
Right. Well, no. Keystone makes Cricket rifles. No, so that's why I thought. So, but they make the Mini Mosin, which is in 22, same style bolt action, everything. They've just done everything. They've just resized it down. So, I mean, if you want a Mosin in 22, that's where you'd get. That's what you'd get. You get a Keystone Sporting Arms Mini Mosin. It's got a 20-inch barrel. It's a single shot bolt action. They don't have the internal magazine. That's the only thing is there's no 5-round internal magazine because it's 22. So be aware of that. It is a Cricket single shot, yes, with the Mosin mini stock. Yeah. Well, the bolt looks like a Mosin too. So, but again, so let's see. So, our friend sent me 200 rounds of Belgium 7.62 x 54R a few years ago. Haven't shot any yet, but it was manufactured in the 1930s, so it should be good for 80 years. Well, as long as it was kept in a dry environment, it shouldn't degrade for a number of years. But be aware that some of that older ammunition, that Belgium stuff most likely is corrosive. So once you're done shooting that, put a little Dawn and some water down the barrel, or put some ammonia down the barrel to clean it up. You might also want to cover go over the bolt too. And that's it. It'll be fine. Honestly, that's another thing people complain about with the 7.62 x 54R or just like any Russian ammo, some of it being dirty or corrosive. Okay. Dirty is different than corrosive. Dirty means it's just you got extra carbon on it than normal from normal ammunition, which that's not really that hard. You can just scrub that off. You'll be fine. With corrosive ammo, you got to scrub that a little bit, just a little bit to get that out, because you leave that in there and the inside of your barrel could rust. Your bolt could rust. Be aware, corrosive ammo. You don't want corrosive ammo. You can use new factory produced ammo. It's just realize that you're going to pay a premium per box, and you're going to buy 20 rounds per box unless you buy in bulk. So yes, you can use boiling hot water, but you need to use something to clean that out. So anyways, anything you want to jump in and say, Travis?
Yeah, is it true you can use Windex because you need the ammonia, and it will neutralize the corrosive salts that are in the primer?
You can use Windex. You can use Dawn dishwashing soap. You can use ammonia.
So just real quick for Warsaw, dude, I'm talking about like Winchester or Remington or Mossberg, like a major company or PSA doing a repo where they're going to have. I'm not talking about like what Mitchell's Mausers was. I'm talking about a new company saying, "Hey, we've got our own Mosin now. It'll have like PSA stampings on it and stuff like that." I'm not talking about or if somebody is going to make a legit, clone, it would be stamped properly so that you'd be able to identify it as not being authentic.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying for the sake of being, all I'm saying is get one out there that would be affordable, so people could enjoy them. That's all I'm saying. Or get one
And
that could be your beater that you could shoot the heck out of and not worry about it losing value.
exactly. And I just want to mention the last real innovation to the Mosins in the last 20 years have been the Archangel stocks.
Yeah. Well, and then
where
also
where the Archangel stocks, basically you could put any 9130 or M44 in an Archangel stock and you would get a 10 round detachable magazine.
Yeah.
That's that is the only reason why you'd want an Archangel stock, but at that point you're bubbling the rifle from the original wood stock to a polymer stock so you can have a detachable magazine, which the magazines, they work, but they're not that great. They're not like Magpul mags, okay?
But dude, it makes it easier to put a bipod and an optic on, though, doesn't it? Or at least a bipod and give you an adjustable stock. And you're not modifying the gun permanently. I mean, you're just doing it,
You're just doing it for range or for accuracy. And but I did want to mention those. I know not everybody likes bubbying your rifle. I don't either. But some people like to sporterize. And that's one of the sporterize accessories you can get that enhances the Mosin. And I'm going to say it enhances because it gives you more ammo to shoot. Okay. And at that point, I will concede that does improve the rifle just a little bit, but the stock doesn't look that great because it's only one color, black. I mean, I would have preferred an FDE or, maybe a snow white.
Which one was that again? Which one are you talking about?
The Archangel stocks.
Oh yeah, and then ATI makes the Monte Carlo style stock. You can probably, I don't even know if they still make them, but you can buy them used online or new old stock.
No, you can get Monte Carlo stocks, and they'll come in every color you can find. But the Archangel stock itself was only in polymer black.
Yeah. What about Boyd's? Does Boyd's make a stock for it?
Boyd's may make a custom stock for the Mosin too.
Oh, and then dude, that guy that I went through for the stock from our SKS, that lucky shot or lucky stocks, gun stocks or whatever up in Minnesota.
Yes, he makes them too.
Yeah, he does like the Dragunov style ones for him. You can get like different, like a modern hunting style for it. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the Dragunov. Okay, so we're going into a little AK territory just for a second here, but the Dragunov rifle, the PSL, which is the Romanian copy of the Dragunov, and then even the what is it, the Stava rifles. The Stava's got their own version of the Dragunov too. Basically, they all use 7.62 by 54R, but they're in an AK style action instead of a Mosin bolt action. So, I just wanted to make that clarification there for those that didn't know. Wow. Ohio Wolverine says Archangel stocks just scream Michigan militia, self-proclaimed professional sniper operator. Well, maybe. Though I've looked since, and apparently Archangel does make them in FDE now in OD green. So they don't just have black now, which that is an improvement, but not by much. So anyways, I just want to make that clarification because someone just nudged me and said, hey, they make them in green and FDE now. So there you go on that. Anything else, guys? You guys got any questions? We did go through the full hour, but if you guys have any questions, go ahead and throw them at us. Well, we'll try and answer what we can.
And then you want to talk about counterboring, just in case anybody ever looks that why don't you give some tips for talking about how to pick out a good one?
Yeah, we may want to go through that. I mean, as I mentioned before, a lot of people would prefer hex receivers over round receivers. But either gun will still be a good shooter at the range, no matter what.
Hex tend to have a higher resale just because they're more rare. I don't remember what year. I've got a hex also. I don't remember what year they stopped making them, but they just, in order to speed up production, they cut out the hex.
So there's that. Again, as we said, the PU sniper variants are going to be a little more money than a normal 9130 because, there are not as many of them as there are just standard 9130s. So just be aware of that. So there'll be a premium on that. Now a 9130, a standard one, a cheap one will probably be $300. Okay, but the M44 variant may be more because it's a shorter carbine variant. So be aware of that. What else?
Mine is still sitting in a customized stock that Kevin Jung made for me. He did a rattle can camo finish for me and put the Travis P11 logo on the side of it and sent it to me. So it's such a joy to shoot that rubber butt pad. I could shoot it all day, but I don't want to wear it.
I need a picture of that, Travis.
Oh, I did a video on it. Just type in Travis P11 and I think maybe Kevin Jung and it pops up on YouTube. Dude, it's awesome, man. Yeah, because I did an unboxing from him and I showed it off, and then I showed the rifle after I put it in there. Dude, haven't you kept up with my 1,400 plus video catalog?
I have not.
Well, you need to binge watch some Travis P11 this weekend.
Now, as I said, everybody had Mosin Nagants. Okay, I do want to mention this. It may trigger some older collectors out there who may have been part of the conflict, but I mentioned there are Chinese variants. Yes, there are Chinese variants. But be aware, because the Soviets gave them to everybody, there are also Vietnamese variants of the Mosin too. Just be aware. So.
There we go. There's the after. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that freaking sweet? Check that out, man.
All right.
It's my baby. Dude. That looks like an elephant gun, man. I love it. Dude, that's friggin' awesome. Look at that thing, man. Dude, it just shoots like a dream.
Is that the full barrel?
Yes, it is. I'm not going to cut it down. No way, man. Yeah. And you got your sling swivels on there too, which is nice. You can put a regular sling on it.
It didn't normally come with the hood front sight. So was that a?
Mine's like a 1925 hex, 1927 or something like that. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that artwork, man.
Yes, yes, Warsaw. Awesome. There are even North Korean Mosins and Cuban Mosins. You joke, but there are. So,
dude, I love it, man. Anyway,
there we go.
I just want to show that off. That's my
fine.
Mosin variant. That's a P11 variant right there.
That's fine. And Kingpin, you're welcome. I'm trying to talk about guns again because that's what makes me happy. And that's all I'm going to say on that.
Dude, this last hour's been awesome. Isn't it nice just to have a nice, wholesome conversation about guns and forget our problems, forget our political divisions, and just talk good old-fashioned guns. It's just what it is.
And that's why I started doing this series. And I may not do it every Tuesday, maybe the first Tuesday of the month and the last Tuesday of the month, because there are not a lot of classic guns I can talk about. So I'm kind of basically just spreading it out.
Dude, there's hundreds of guns we could talk about, man.
So
what's next week's show going to be? What are you going to research for next week?
I don't know.
Because we've covered the Grand, we covered the Mosin.
How about
you do a little Mauser talk or what? Little K98?
I don't have a Mauser.
Well, it doesn't matter. You look up stuff on Wikipedia on it.
I could do that, yeah.
Well, come on, man. How do you think I got through 300 episodes of Caliber Corner? Lots and lots of research, okay?
Travis, we're still live.
30 minutes on the toilet when you're reading Wikipedia. It's amazing what a guy can pick up, Seriously, you got to utilize that time wisely, man.
Actually, now that you mention it, you know what? I think I know which one I want to do this next week.
Uh-oh, there we go.
Okay. All right. So for those that don't know, it'll be a semi-automatic rifle.
Ooh, Tommy gun.
No, it's a semi-automatic, not fully auto. Not fully semi-automatic, just
fully semi-auto. Yeah.
No, just semi.
All right, man. I'll look forward to it.
It'll be a rifle. I'll tell you off air. Oh, the one I'm thinking of. But be aware, we're going to talk about semi-automatic rifles next week. So we'll do that. Throne time is YouTube time. Well,
absolutely, especially when you're married. Absolutely. Yep.
Or when you're not married.
Well, either way, it's the one place where a man can go to just, just have his thoughts about life and, just be left alone.
No, not the Gaunt revolver. Nice try, my sore bicep, but no, not the. Back at you, Tim. Back at you, Tim. Anyways, with that,
what do you say?
Being lazy. Mike being lazy hasn't changed in 50 years. Well, Tim is exactly like that too. Just ask him how long it took him to tile his bathroom. Anyways,
well, dude, that's a nightmare because it could take your woman years to figure out what she wants for the backsplash.
He himself,
and you got to get the right grout
sooner.
I mean, Kingpin would identify this. You talk about supply chain issues. It could take you a decade to finish your bathroom. Not to mention the inflation prices. Have you priced a bathtub lately? It's ridiculous. I'd rather just go bathe out in a cattle trough and just not worry about it.
Stop defending Tim.
Dude, he's got a point, man. I don't even know the guy.
I've known him. I think it's been longer than 15 years, Tim. Anyways. On that note, I'm not saying that no, we're done. We're done. We're going. We're done. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you guys later.
All right, we love you guys, man. Y'all take care. Be good.
Shall not be infringed.
Bye, Felicia. Hey, Felicia, call me. I'm not saying anything else, NightStryke, because you always leave it on because I say something really bad at the end.
Damn it.
Turn it off, or I'm gonna start singing some like 90s hip hop.